What's going on, guys? It's Luke here again, bringing you another video. So today we're going to be talking about inventory performance. Now, this is something I've been seeing, I noticed a couple of weeks back. I had a quick look over it, read up on there was like a news, on the front cover where they have like the news bulletin bit. They had, stuff to do with fees and keeping the score healthy a week or two ago, whenever it was. Had a quick read over it. Didn't really think it's that sort of like important, to be fair, and I still don't think it's that important. But I can see that people are, anything new with Amazon, people are getting they're just getting scared, starting to think, oh god, everything's going to go to shit or whatever. For all these things that they basically implement. Now, okay, let's take a look what it even is. Okay, so it just seems, that it's basically this score is derived from different things. So actually it looks like this normally. So you can see here, I paid that in April for storage fees. Now you can see it's got some different factors that it clearly takes into consideration to then produce your score. And we all did get an email as well about basically saying that you need to keep your score above about 380 or something, so that you don't get higher fees, and you can basically, and you don't get a restriction on the amount of units you can put in. Now, of course, if you think about it, if you think about Amazon, the worse you are with some sort of certain things, the more of a liability you are, I guess, and the more aggravation you may cause. Amazon, for example, if you have non-moving stock, then that's going to be clogging up the fulfillment centers. And they may find that if if your sell-through rate and all of this is below, meaning you're not selling a lot of your stuff, then of course, if this drops below a certain value, you may be restricted on what you can store there, because they don't want you storing thousands of products that aren't shifting, because they are basically having to have the space for that. And the more they have, the more places they're going to have to actually build. It's cost money, or they're going to have to enforce higher fees overall so they can build these new warehouses, because but if you think about it, why should the people that are doing well be penalized, or controlling and managing it all properly be then penalized with people who are just sending in stuff willy-nilly, knowing that it might sell in a year, it might sell in 8 months, it might sell at Christmas. They're not actually being what I would call what you would think as professional and inventory management. Good quality of that. Now, of course, things happen, but if you're selling thousands of items, say you're selling hundreds to thousands of items a month, the overall items, might have 5% or 8% that aren't selling within 3 months. Fine, 10%, but obviously, you need to make sales to be able to pay for your expenses and pay for your wages and pay for any staff you have. And so it's sort of common sense that you would want fast sell-through products if you are looking to be a professional business on Amazon, on the platform. And it's only getting, Amazon have only pushed towards professional full-time sellers rather than eBay second-hand and part-time sellers. And they, over the last 3 or 4 years, that's all they've done. They've made it harder for sort of sole traders. Even it used to not really be too much of an issue, but now limited companies actually seem to have more of an upper hand because they're seen as more professional, sort of long-term minded, years and years and years. So we're gonna have a quick look over it. A lot of it I don't really know what it is, to be quite honest. You can sort of get, you can read what it's saying, and you could spend ages, but if this score is well, it says my highest has been this and the lowest has been that's interesting. -1 in the last 7 days. If it's anywhere above the red, I'm sure you're fine. It's just, I guess, 300 or something. And you can read here, you can sort of see what it is. I don't know what inventory sold versus the inventory units average. Okay, it's interesting. Identifies as yes. I always try not to have excess units. I try to manage my units properly. Now this is between 1 and 3 months, not more than that. So when we're talking about managing, I'll manage it usually month by month, but you can see here, this is sort of talking about 90 days. So that seems to be the periods at what they are classifying as short term or shorter term and longer term. 1 to 3 months, which is what most people go off. That's you need to be making the sales, otherwise you're not going to be making the profits, which aren't going to be able to pay all this money that you got to pay to for XYZ in the Amazon world. Excess units. This is the total storage that I could probably incur, I guess, if I'm not sure exactly where that even comes from. You can sort of see units sold in the past 90 days, 3,300. So even if you've got 100, 200 units which are past this, it's only a sort of relatively small number, and actually on the bottom end of this as well. Stranded, yeah, I mean that's not too much of an issue. Stranded items, I guess they don't want. If an item's stranded, it means it's basically never going to sell unless you sort out the problem. Now, if you have item after item after item all stranded, then of course it's basically just sitting there and doing nothing, and it's never going to actually do it. It won't until you take action. And so yeah, of course, the more you have of that, the worse the score will be. And this is the only one that obviously is in what I call the red. Now, that's fair enough because I've been moving recently and I've basically not been as sort of fruitful. You can see it's saying I've lost in the last 30 days this much in sales, yeah, which is what, $1.5 grand worth of purchasing, which sounds about right. That's like a week, maybe less than a week. Yeah, a couple, 4 or 5 days worth of potential sort of where I'm behind because of the move. I'm about a week behind where I should be in terms of buying, prepping, getting stock in, getting it booked in. So you can see here, you can sort of get a gist here, to be quite honest. It's been pretty good. And then it's basically, yeah, the last, it should be up here basically, 60. I mean, less than 70 is poor. That's interesting. Well, that's green, but yeah, this is one of those things. This is products that I'm basically not. Hang on, let's double check we got this here. Yeah, keep your. This is the one that's going to be twitchy for a lot of people. It's saying keep your popular products in stock to avoid loss. Now, how does Amazon know if you are out of stock and haven't replenished, or you just can't get that product anymore at that price? You see, so this is where most of us, on our upcharge says, are going to have a red probably. I can imagine. I'm at 42, and actually a poor is 70 or below. Now I can definitely, what was it being there? 60s. Yeah, I can imagine the 60s is quite nice. Quite you can tick over. And again, like I've been mentioning for months and months and months and months, years even. I don't even know how long I've been mentioning it. Always go through your catalogue and periodically delete old listings, delete and remove listings, because policy warnings that go against those products. You could have sold an item 2 years ago, you just leave it and you've never seen it again. You sold it on your first month and you didn't know what you were doing. You forget it's there, you get policy warning, it will go against you because you've technically got it in the catalogue. It's like, imagine an Argos catalogue. You open it up and it's saying that Argos are selling that item. They might not have it in stock when you get there, but it's saying that Argos are selling that, a climbing frame. I don't know why I've got a picture of a climbing frame in my mind. You will go, oh look, Argos are selling a climbing frame. Well, no, they're not, because they've got it in stock, which is sort of the same principle behind us. We may have had it in stock one time. It's now not in stock, but it's in our catalogue. And it literally is under catalogue. It's not even like it's literally catalogue, yeah. And it's just interesting, it's interesting to keep on top of these, even if you can't necessarily have that much of an impact on some of them. It's more the overall picture that isn't going to affect the overall. You need to be about 380. I'm 200 above it, or 385, whatever it was. So you can have some of these down here, or on the yellow or the amber, or whatever. And obviously, it's just the overall. Now, another interesting thing I found is this: voice of the customer. So if you go under performance, I believe, and then you'll come to account health, and then it's just on the end. It's sort of showing you, it says here, like this item here, listings deleted, fine. But see, I sold it one time, don't sell it again, deleted it from my catalogue. So it's saying, I don't really understand how these numbers are calculated. It's interesting just to see new things that they're adding to the platform and to Seller Central, because you never know what they're going to add on top of this. That's another point. I guess it's to do with return rates, but I've had returns before, and I've had it is interesting to just have a quick look. You can read it. Great office performance significantly better than similar products. I don't know. You can have a read of yourself. There's always there's months worth reading in the help section, and obviously excellent. Great. I'll have the excellent. Don't know what that means anyway. And another cool thing, if you go to performance, you go down to explore services, you can get onto this. You can go ahead and select a service. You're looking for FBA preparation. That's search in the UK. Where do you want to sell? And they've got interesting suggestions for people, which I don't really know where this comes from. Where has this come from to get this information? Like, you can apply. There was a section somewhere where you can, I don't know where it is now, where you can actually apply to be one of these people. But I mean, where did the original people come from? Without were they approached? But also, are these really accounting? It just seems like a bit of a. Seems like they just fill in some space. Just because Amazon suggests them, do you ever use them? I've never ever heard of any of these. I know a lot of these are like very much private label style, storage. I'm guessing that's more. It's just interesting though that what they're adding. Because sometimes you can get an idea of what they might be adding in the future. Why would they? Okay, think about it. Why are they trying to promote these companies? What would the sort of bigger picture be? That why they may be working with them? Maybe they're not working with them. Yeah, maybe they're also trying to get in on this, so that Amazon are anything that gets through here isn't Amazon are now getting a cut, which sounds relatively reasonable. It sounds like it's more of an affiliation. I mean, that's just me making a massive guess. But anyone that signs up through here then gets Amazon affiliate commission. So it's just another dynamic that there's loads of it. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know where they're from. They're based in what country? I guess it's the UK, but I don't know where they would actually get these companies from in terms of how they sign up. Because obviously no one knew about this before. So it's just interesting that there's new things all the time. But again, this is the biggest part. And as long as you're above, a certain level on here, then you're allowed to almost send unlimited inventory. And before, even if it wasn't unlimited, you could have thousands and thousands and thousands of items in stock with Amazon, and that was still within the limits. So it's not like you're going to be restricted to 500 units or 300 units ever. 10,000 I think is the number that they give you, but that I've got, and I've never got close to 10,000. I think the highest I've ever got to is about 2,000 units. And yeah, okay, 10 isn't massively off, but it's still pretty far, isn't it? Anyway, I'll leave the video there. Hopefully you just got a little bit more of an update of things that are happening in the space, because a lot of people they panic and they don't see these until they're already there, or someone raises it, or they get an email and they say something, And to me, this isn't really relating to buy box suppressions or anything that we've recently seen, because a lot of and I saw someone on one of the groups said, oh, this is relating to the email I got about Amazon telling me to reduce my prices. Well, to be fair, I don't believe so, because they're actually selling less of of most of those suppression products now than they were, because obviously there's now no buy box. So that then contradicts the whole in stock and excess inventory and sell through, because it's now less on every single seller. So it will only get worse. So that is a complete, it may be linked in a way, but it's not, for me, going to be directly linked to this. That is not like, in advance of this being released. I can see it more being, it's something they want to do so that people who are just abusing and using it as a warehouse, hoping to sell it at some point, it's penalising them. But then again, the in-stock inventory is taken into consideration when that's got really nothing to do with storing in a warehouse, because they obviously want more sales, but isn't it up to you? Like, you could just not sell on there at all. So why would they penalise you for not selling? Yeah, it's slightly unusual on that point. And we'll have to see what other things come as the months progress. But I will leave it there. Hopefully you enjoyed it. You got a little update. Any questions, leave them below or in the Facebook group, and I'll see you on the next one.